What's up, After Buzzers? Welcome to the Deception After Show. It's going to be amazing. We're talking magic. We're talking crime. We're talking twins. Stay tuned. That's coming up for you next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Grab you. Woo!
Abracadabra.
All right, you guys. What's up, people? Welcome to the Deception After Show. I'm Erika Edwards, your host, and I could not do this without my co-host here. Welcome, you guys. Introduce yourself, Chica.
Hey, this is Cherry, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as Cherry_LA. So I am so excited because abracadabra, magic.
Yay. All right, we're going to start off first things first. What were your overall thoughts of this pilot?
I thought it was interesting. I felt it reminded me of another show, Who Shall Remain Unnamed, but I totally love it because it stars a young man who was in a TV show called Cooper Barrett. He was in this TV show that I loved, and more importantly, Justin Chon, who was in Drama World, who I love.
Yay. I'm actually new to both of those actors. Let me ask you this. What did you think about the title Deception? Because there was another show a couple years ago on NBC called Deception. Deception is like so done. What I found on the blogs is they call it Magician Impossible. And I kind of like that title a little bit better. I'm going to be honest. Deception, but whatever, it's cool. What were your thoughts on the title of the show?
The title, before I knew what the show was about, I thought it was something different. I thought it was more of a traditional murder mystery cop buddy drama.
Right.
And then I was like, wait, magic? Wait, what? FBI? What's going on? But then I saw that Justin was in it and I was like, ooh, hi, Justin.
Yay, yay. Okay, well, let's get right into it. Off the top, there's an intro where we first meet Cameron Black. And Cameron Black is kind of giving us that whole feel for magic and kind of hooking you into the magical theme of the show. What were your feelings on that? How did you like the intro part?
I thought the intro was interesting. I could have sworn that Trick was suspended over water, but I guess to make it more jazzy, they put sharp knives. And his little black outfit was kind of like Las Vegas magician. I expected him to have like a ton of tattoos and some piercings and facial hair, but it worked.
Okay, and I really liked, I'll say this one thing I found interesting within the first 10 seconds of the show. They used the word deception at least 10 times. So the name of his magical show is Deception. He explains what deception is. When he talks about magic, it's truly deceptional. So that was kind of funky. I liked that. And I liked the initial intros to Cameron Black, which is our star, and our and his staff, his magical team, okay? So he's supported by Gunther, Jordan, and Dina, who I love. The actress that plays Dina, she played on last season's, or maybe it's season 3 of Black Mirror. She was in Black Bear, I believe was the name of her Black Mirror episode, as well as she was on Being Human. She's a BBC British actress that I'm a fan of, so I do like her. So they're getting ready for this crazy Houdini magic trick that takes place in Vegas and New York at the same time. And so they build the tension where you think, oh my gosh, we've been watching this show for 3 minutes and the lead is dead. How did you feel about the explosion and the death-defying, the kind of little teaser? Did you buy into it, or do you like, oh, I know this is magic, he'll be fine?
I knew it was magic. I didn't know how the truck was going to go because I was like, can he just swing himself around to the other side and catch something? But he didn't do that. But of course, they needed to play with him jumping into the big glass TV screen and then making everything go off in New York. And I can say, as someone that lived on the East Coast, that would have freaked me out. have been like, oh, bombing, what's going on?
Right.
Everybody ready to run.
I'm not going to lie. I had to see the episode a couple of times because I was like, wait a minute. I don't want to be the ditzy blonde here, but he started off in Las Vegas. And so, like, that is magic that he's teleporting now into New York.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I'm going to ride with this. You know, I haven't seen David Copperfield in quite a while. So I was like, maybe this is what magicians do now. So yeah, so that was a cool introduction, I think, to them and the
Yes.
team. And I really liked that. And so then we see this mysterious, sexy woman with the brown, blue eyes. Okay. What were your thoughts on that whole little
First of all, who would
transition right
not
there?
notice someone that has two colored eyes? I mean, for me, I wouldn't want to openly stare, but I would definitely look. I'd be like, her eyes are different colors. That's different. She was attractive, but she wasn't so attractive that I was like, she's just gonna like, that's your type, I guess, dude. That's your type.
Exactly.
I was like,
I didn't think, like, to me, it was Times Square. Like, she wasn't so hot or so whatever that I would have picked her out of the crowd.
Yes.
Except for the fact that she was, like, leaning over, you know, doing all this.
She had her boobies out.
You know, and
she's
she was just like,
shuffling with the boobs.
she was really, really selling it because overall she just looked like a regular woman, attractive,
She's attractive.
but not somebody that I would pull out of a crowd of thousands to be like, get in the car with me, boo. So, so I was like, okay, interesting. I thought that was interesting how they play that up because it wasn't, because, you know, I would have thought, okay, she'd be wearing something bright. She'd be, you know, she'd
something
do whatever.
more red.
But it was more in her attitude and her body language. So I thought that that was actually an interesting little thing. And then we see, you know, we see him in the car with her, and, you know, and he's looking deep into her brown eyes, which honestly, I mean, it's cute, but it is kind of like,
You're still driving, dude. You need to keep your eye on the
I
damn
know,
road.
I know.
I say that to people all the time. You need to look at the road. Don't
Yeah,
look at me.
yeah, I know I look good, but you need to keep your eyes on the road.
road.
Yes, keep
Yes.
watching the road. And so, boom, there's an accident, and then we transition to we're back in Vegas. The police come to
Yes.
his door.
Okay, the thing that killed me about that was did she drug him? Because even if I see a car coming at me, I'm still going to try to go left or right or something. And then, even if unless I'm like super crazy drunk, which I don't drink, but even if I was drunk, I wouldn't flee the scene. You get more trouble for fleeing the scene of the accident. Even if you know they were trapped and lying, you still stay there. And you're like, that wasn't the cow that I drove off with. That wasn't the chick I hooked up with. That's somebody else.
Exactly. And the issue I had in the next scene was the police come to Cameron's apartment or room in Vegas, and they're like, oh, you know, you killed this woman, you murdered this woman, and we have these photos of you. Now, this is the thing that I found kind of interesting. He was really quick to give up his twin brother. He's like, oh, as soon as the police knock on his door, I mean, he didn't even have a handcuff. He's like, no, that wasn't me. That was my brother. And I was like, this has been your brother for 30 years. Like, there are like, clearly there are like no rules on snitching in Vegas, because I was like, you did not grow up in the hood at all. You just don't snitch on your twin immediately. Like, they didn't even have to question him. He's like, I'm not even going downtown with you, okay? What were your thoughts on that? I was like, this is your twin. Like, you have no allegiance to
That
him.
was so low on Cameron's part. I'd have been so mad if I'd been Jonathan, we would not be talking, because I'd be like, dude, could you not have gotten a lawyer? We could have done, like, you had people who saw you in Vegas. Everyone knows. I mean, like, they could have both come out and been like, it wasn't me, and then had the other one come out.
Right,
And
and exactly. They could have been like, my DNA, his DNA. Who are you
Which
going
one
to test?
is it?
Who is
Which
it? I mean, like,
wins?
they could have, yes. I watch a lot of lawyer shows. They could have rocked that out. You know what I mean? I was like, he's giving him up too quick.
He gave him up
and I
fast.
was like, really? This is how you going to do your brother, man? After all those years? Cameron?
And Jonathan was the one in the shadow anyway. So I think Cameron was mad that Jonathan was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be like a real person. I need a passport and I need a social security card. Did he ever go to school? I'm very I think it was abusive.
Exactly. That was my next question. So then it comes out that all these Yeagers, they've been twins and not just one person. So first and foremost, that's what I was like. I was like, okay, did he go to school? Did he because you know what I mean?
Immunization.
Like, I was like, this is America. How is this working? And were they homeschooled? Like, what was going on? With that whole thing. And I was like, okay, because I watch Orphan Black, and then there's some other show. There's another show, What Happened on Monday. I was going to start watching that too, but it's like, no, this is regular times. How are they just like the same person? And for 30 years.
For 30 years.
For 30 years. Like, at one point, are you like, look, I want to hook up with a chick under my own name. Like, when do you get to that point where you're like, okay, sweetie, I'm tired of acting like you. So I found that really interesting that this one thing, he was so quick to give this up. And then all of a sudden, now you realize that, that this has been something that's been going on for 30 years. And it also made me now question, I don't know, because, we don't at this point know the history of their magic tricks, but I'm like, so were all of your magic tricks just you and your brother coming out? Like, like just twin magic for 30
That's what
years.
I call it, twin magic.
Right. I'm like, just twin magic. Is that what we doing? Like, so that was an interesting thing. So,
how would they get through the TSA after 9/11? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to bring that up. The TSA does not do, but you already came through with your passport. Yeah, but I walked out. The TSA would not, they'd be like, no.
Exactly.
No.
So that one was kind of an interesting thing. So the brother gets convicted. Yes. We fast forward to a year later. Cameron is sworn to get his brother out of jail, and which is the least you can do after you gave your brother up. I think exactly, since he's the one actually doing the time.
And Cameron refuses to help Jonathan escape. So once again, Jonathan is paying for Cameron's self-righteous, I got to think about me. I think Cameron's kind of selfish.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think Cameron, he feels guilt, but also I feel like he's also afraid to do the show without his brother. Like, he loves his brother, obviously, but, his brother, he's the performer. His brother is the one who's kind of mapping out stuff. So how you going to come up with the trick if the person who does the stuff is in jail? So I think part of it is obviously his love for his twin, but part of it is continuing the show because he wants the show to survive.
Doesn't love him that much if he gave him up that quickly.
Immediately. I mean, I was like, you couldn't even get questioned downtown, dude. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to go on and say white privilege.
Exactly. We're going to have to get Cameron in here and ask him a few questions.
Do you want something to eat before you take it to the jail? Yeah, I do. Thank you.
I know. I mean, come on. So now we go to the scene with the FBI. So our first introduction to Agent Kay Daniels and Agent Michael Alvarez.
Yes.
And Kay is interviewing this drug cartel, Felix Ruiz.
Yes.
And they're in this plane. Oh, you don't get yourself arrested. And then the plane blows up. And, we go through that. So what are your thoughts on Agent Daniels?
First of all, the FBI is rolling way too Mercedes, way too nice in that jet. I mean, really, that was a top of the line jet. Second of all, I loved how they interspersed English with Spanish. It's like, dude, she should have been like, you don't know if I'm Spanish? You don't know? And then
that's true, because I'm just gonna be honest, she's very ethnically ambiguous.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure. I wasn't really sure. I was like, is she Spanish? Is she part black? Is she part Middle Eastern? She is pretty. She's very ambiguous. So that was a huge assumption to assume that she even knew Spanish. I was like, okay.
I was offended for her. Don't project onto me. And Felix, despite being a criminal, was kind of charming. Except for that whole killing people and everything. But I thought that was interesting, their interplay on the plane, because she had been studying him and she just knew him. There's almost like a connection between them, because she was looking at him she was looking right through him like, I know your soul, I know you, I know what games you're playing, I'm not the woman for this. So I kind of liked the way she interacted with him.
Yes, I like that as well. And there was sort of a little bit of spice there, and you can tell that and they talk about this all throughout the show about how this is personal for her. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out later on in the show. And so then we see, like, to me, it just looked fake. You know what I mean? Like, if I was an FBI agent and then all of a sudden, like, pink smoke starts coming up, I would be like, oh, this is odd. Okay, like, I was like, all right, first there were gunshots and stuff. I'll give you the gunshots. But I was like, who is coming up with pink smoke bombs or purple or whatever? Very cute colors. I love pink and purple. But I was like, all right, I think there's some magic here. I don't know. I know it's the theme of the show, but I think that was a slight giveaway. And so the plane explodes. Then we cut to, we're back at Cameron, and Cameron's like turning into a roving drunk because he's trying to now find this person who set his brother up. It must be an illusionist and all this. And so he sees the whole thing on the news about the plane exploding, but they can't find the bodies. Ooh. And I'm gonna say right now, the FBI seems not the brightest on this episode. I'm just gonna say that, like, because Cameron as a magician is like, well, if the plane really exploded, everyone in the hangar would have died.
Yes.
I don't see how all the people that work for the FBI also could not have figured that basic thing out. But I don't work for the FBI, so maybe I'm passing judgment on government. But I'm just saying, I was surprised. That was interesting. So Cameron watches it and he's like, it's an illusionist. I'm gonna go and show them. And so the next thing we know,
He's
Cameron,
just in the room.
how is he magically behind a yellow tape? I mean, this is another, we're not gonna bring everything down to white privilege, but I'm telling you, ain't no black people walking behind yellow tape like that. I'm just gonna let you all know that right now. Black people, magicians or not, we don't pop up behind police yellow tape that easily. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, so let's go back to the hangar. First of all, I may not have ever seen anyone shot in my life, but I'm pretty sure if you're shot, red liquid stuff comes out as opposed to smoke. So that should have been a clue to them. And then the whole explosion was just enough to push them back, but no one was like, no broken bones, no hair singe. Her hair was flawless.
yes, that weave or whatever it was looking amazing.
amazing.
And the lights went out. I was like, ooh.
How do you not notice that the lights go out and go, that's odd?
Right. So what I do like about this show is, even though I guess people are really being murdered, I guess people are actually dying, right? I don't know. But it's very campy. Like, it's a very light
very
feel
campy.
to it. So it's like, you don't really feel bad that this person has just been murdered with this purple smoke around them. You don't really feel it in your heart.
Nobody was killed.
So, right. Okay. So nobody was killed. So
He literally paid all the FBI agents.
Oh, that's
or
right.
The FBI, and I couldn't
DEA
figure out
agents. That's what it was.
If
the
the DEA agents, were they flying the plane? Did he pay the pilots off? Because that must have been like 5 or 6 people for you to pay off. And first of all, if I'm going to betray the federal government, I want my money in advance. You waiting to meet the money guy? No. I want my money
Well,
right now.
I will say this, not that I have any personal cartel experience, but if they're like, okay, yeah, your head might be rolling on the soccer field, then you just go ahead and be like, all right, whatever, I'll move the plane, I'll do what you want to do. So I think it was fun, it was campy, a little hokey, I'm not gonna lie. The whole thing was, because even I was like, I don't know how they do this, but this looks fake to me, and but we'll see what happens. So Cameron magically is behind the tape. And now what I'm really loving is Detective Mike Alvarez and the sort of like the bromance between him and Cameron. So every time, like 85 times during, that's Cameron Black, that's Cameron Black, that's Cameron Black. Like, that's his line. Like, he needs to have that on his Twitter feed because it's so cute. So every time he sees Cameron, he's like in awe. And I think that's what we all want as an entertainer, someone that just recognizes you on the street and just loves everything you do. And so that's how Cameron kind of comes in. And then he tries to convince Agent Daniels because she's like the negative, naysayer, and get him out of here. And then he's like, no, he shows them how the plane was actually able to disappear. And even in me watching it, I'm like, okay, well, there's a fake door. And then I'm like, but exactly, there was a fire, but how did they not see it taking off? And, so then they cut to where they go to the FBI and we meet Agent Daniels. We meet her boss and Detective, what's her last name here? Deakins, I think, Agent Deakins.
I was calling her the blonde chick.
Right, exactly. Special Agent Deakins, who was also on Homeland. She plays a big boss on Homeland too. And so I do like that actress. And what was interesting, she was like, I think they all really like Cameron or whatever. I don't know, because she was like, no. Okay, if you say so. She said one no, one refusal. No, we can't have musicians off the street coming in and consulting us. And then Kay was like, look, if he can help us find him, he can. And so then next thing you know, Cameron is in a huge meeting with all these FBI and DEA agents. What do you think about that?
I thought that was, I guess it was mansplaining or something. I found that a little confusing, but he is a star of the show, so they had to figure out a way to bring him in. I would have preferred that they had spent a little bit more time explaining how he was going to be a consultant, because they didn't even say, oh, he's going to be a consultant. They're like, oh, well, come hang out with us, come pretend to be the money guy. That's cool. It was immediate, okay, Cameron, that's cool. And I was like, I don't know too many FBI agents. I do know some of those in the CIA, and that would not have gone down.
Exactly. I felt like they let him in the fold pretty easily.
With no background check.
Exactly. And then, he impersonates the banker. And so at first they're like, oh, you're horrible. But then when they use his impersonation to get the witness to, we forgot something. We forgot a scene. So he goes out with Kay Daniels. This was actually a very cute, campy scene. He goes out with Kay Daniels to find where the airplane is hidden. And they go to where these warehouse construction, hardcore, they're supposed to be hardcore.
Food truck. It's a food truck waiting area.
Right. And I'm like,
wait, we missed so they found out where the trucks were from the food truck people by impressing them with magic, which I have to say was good. I find the show is best when it's gone through a sort of a narrowing and it's related to magic.
Yes.
When it's not in his little magic realm, it's like, well, Cameron, what are you doing here? Go away.
And this is my concern about this show, and my question for you is, on one hand, we see these spectacular tricks, but on the other hand, he explains everyone. And I agree. One thing Alvarez says a couple of times throughout this episode, and we'll see how this plays out during the season, you're ruining the trick. And that I agree with him every single time. I'm like, okay, I get it. You did magic. You can make an airplane disappear. I want to be able to watch David Blaine again. Okay. And you are, so that's a part of the show where I'm like, okay, it's that whole, all right, I know everything, and I'm going to show you how this criminal is doing this, which I get it. This is a crime show, but you're ruining magic.
He's ruining magic.
And so that is sort of the dilemma of the show, because I feel like that's a strong premise. And it's like, okay, they get you and they dazzle you, and then they show you everything. So it's like, oh, okay. You see the wizard, and now you see behind the curtain.
Yes.
And now you're not the same in us anymore. So that is one thing that comes up. So he does some magic tricks for the workers. And I agree with you. I felt like that scene was really strong because he shows how, kind of what he touches on in the intro, how magic affects each of us personally.
Yes.
And that's what I really like when he talks about how he can relate to the people in the audience and that sort of thing. And so I actually really liked that scene a lot. And he uses his magic to kind of help her with witnesses. And it showed him and Kay working together as a team. And I really love that interplay.
Yes. They don't really need to explain how the tricks are done. It's sort of like in The Mentalist, he didn't always explain how he was able to read people. After a while, you knew.
Exactly.
He just had really good body language skill reading.
Exactly, because I enjoyed The Mentalist a lot for that very reason.
And even when you're watching them talk, if you're talking and entertaining an entire crowd, and one person is standing around, they're looking all nervous, that's the one that knows something. So you really don't need to explain it.
Yeah, and
I think they over-explain.
And in that scene, he actually didn't explain the tricks he
Yes.
did, and I appreciated that more.
Yes.
Bottom line, I did.
So much better.
Yeah.
He interplayed so much better. Cameron and Kate, when he's not really over-explaining and mansplaining, their chemistry is so much better. It's when he starts over-explaining is when I was like, stand there and be pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're ruining magic. Pull back, boo. Pull back. So they find out where the plane is, and we're going to the hangar. No, we're going to the warehouse where the plane is. And so then there's this whole scene, and backup, they're about to move Felix. Backup isn't coming. Or no, backup is, she's called backup.
Yes.
And she goes in, and she tells Cameron to stay at the car. He refuses to stay. She handcuffs him, which I think is hysterical. Like, it's like a total joke. Like any magician who can't escape handcuffs, like what show are we watching, people? So of course he escapes. And now what I found interesting about this scene, Felix gets away, and this is the first time we really see her really upset, because she's like coming at Cameron, like, when you mess up here, things happen, and now he's away and I've been following him for years. What were your thoughts on that?
First of all, she was wrong because they already knew he was leaving, because the car was coming out, and she's like, oh, he's leaving. That's why we have to go inside. So you knew he was leaving. If she didn't want him to leave, she should have cut all the tires so that they wouldn't be able to drive with the truck. And blaming Cameron for that was more of her projecting that she was angry he got away. So I kind of understood where she's coming from, because sometimes when I get mad, I don't want to blame myself. I'm going to blame the next person because I'm petty.
Exactly. And I too can be petty. So what we're going to say now is, do you want to have fun? Learn and grow in all areas of your life? Well, for those of you who do, we've got a podcast for you people. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition, is hosted by our AFTERBUZZ TV founder, Maria Menounos, and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life, from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you never had, and I've never had one, so thank the God she's here. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was us here at Deception After Show, people, who got you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos, podcast edition. Check it out. Yay.
Yes.
Do that, you guys.
She's awesome.
I love her. Okay. Let's see here.
Do we have 9 minutes left?
Oh my gosh. All right. We got to get through it.
So let's go right towards the end.
Okay. So, let's see. Let's jump. All right. So basically, Felix gets away. And the one issue I did want to say about that was that she blamed him for coming in, like that's why Felix got away. No, you lost him and you went in there without backup. Why are you blaming him?
Yes.
So that part, I actually was like, all right, Kay, pull back, boo. Yeah. So they eventually agreed to do this switch with Dominic.
Yes.
And that was kind of cool. And another thing, kind of what you were saying about the team going in, and they're basically like, yeah, FBI, we got a budget for you. Pay us. Because I was like, how is the FBI? Because there was this whole, there were a couple of little scenes where you see his team and they're about to leave him for these other magicians that have shows, because they're unemployed now, waiting for you to get your life together. And he's like, okay, no, we're gonna now go work for the FBI. Government don't pay like that. So I was like, how is he going in there? Like, okay, the FBI is now gonna pay you like they were paying people in Vegas? What? That's my tax money. What are you doing? Okay, so but the FBI agrees with it, so cool. And so they're doing the big switch, and Cameron is in there as Dominic, the banker, and but Felix has some little tricks up his sleeve, and they have all these little different trucks going out, and Felix is in the truck with Cameron. And there's this scene where he's like, okay, I'm gonna get you, Dominic, and I'm gonna torture you. And again, Cameron gives it up within 1 second. I'm like, Cameron, can't you pretend to be Dominic for 3 minutes? For 3 minutes, get something out of this. Right away, he's like, no, I'm a magician. I'm not Dominic.
Well, he had to do that because that was the trick for them to get them into the hidden area
Yes. Okay. So,
with his hidden gun and the really nice briefcase.
and I'm going to shout out to Cameron for being quite a blindfolded fighter. I was like, where did they teach you to fight like that in magic school? That was exciting. And so they're driving, and they get him to this scene at the very end, and Felix has a gun on Cameron. And that's when he's like, who told you? And he says something in Spanish, which they do not translate for us at the time. Very interesting how they use subtitles on this show, I will say. And I'm like, sometimes they translate, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Okay, so so they do their own little thing. And so he says something in Spanish, and I actually don't know Spanish like I should after taking it in college, but whatever. And so he shoots at Cameron, and Cameron goes down. What are your feelings about the ending? I'll let you go through it at the end.
I really enjoyed once you got to his workroom they're celebrating, because then you got to know what each of his support staff really does.
Yeah.
And especially how they would relate to consulting with the FBI. The FBI did not say they were going to pay him. They said he could help them out sometimes.
Right. And
which is not the same thing as saying, I'm going to pay you.
Exactly.
It just means you can consult. That would be
Exactly.
a contract that Dinah would have to take care of. But I really enjoyed that. But once again, the other guys didn't say they're going to stay with him forever. They helped him out. And I always I would rather, if possible, work with Siegfried and Roy because they had a Ligra, and I always wanted to pet a lion tiger hybrid.
Oh, I didn't even know they had that. Especially,
Yeah, they had a bunch of
I don't
pets
know, really. I was gonna say after that attack. Now here's one thing I think would be so cool for this show. I don't know if they would, but I would love for them to start doing special guest appearances from like all the magicians that they named. I was like, oh, I'm down to see everybody.
I think they will.
I think they will. I think they will.
They had Will and Tell on.
Yes, I think they definitely will.
Oh, hey, we have
Yay!
questions.
Oh my gosh! I'm so excited with the people in the chat room. Welcome,
Our virgin
welcome.
chatters.
Yay! Exactly.
So what does that say? I'm watching the podcast from the beginning since I'm late for it, and I don't know if you guys already talked about the show being similar to the movie Now You See Me. We talked about that while we were waiting.
Okay, I'm you guys, I have not seen Now You See Me, but I am going to see it by next week because everybody is making me feel like I should have seen it already.
It had the same feel, but the interplay, it had the same like team work feel, but I don't pick up on the Now You See Me team where they kind of had a little bit of a competition. I don't feel that's how Dinah, Jordan, and Gunter work with Cameron. I do believe as time goes on, we'll see that Jonathan and Cameron did have a bit of a competition, because I think sometimes Jonathan wanted to be outside living his life, but Cameron was more used to it, and I think they probably would like fight over who got to be outside.
So I'm definitely going to check out Now You See Me before next week, just so that I will be in the know, because I hate not knowing.
Ooh, and someone likes What Happened to Monday. Looks like it's on my list of shows that I should watch on Netflix.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to start watching that as well. I've been meaning to watching it, especially now that Orphan Black is going to be gone.
I
So
miss Orphan Black.
I know,
so
I
bad.
loved Orphan Black. Now that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. How were you feeling about Jack Cutmer Scott or Cameron playing the twins?
I thought it was interesting. I've never understood why, if you really want to have twins on a TV show, you can't find two people that look similar. There's so many doppelgangers in Los Angeles. You can find a doppelganger or hire twins. I mean, there are twins working in Hollywood right now. I thought he did a good job. It was solid. Jonathan and Cameron do have different mannerisms, and they seem like distinct separate people from the brief acquaintance that we
I thought it was a little brief, and I'm not gonna lie. Coming off Orphan Black, I have really high expectations about
she's
one person
phenomenal.
playing multiples, but we'll see how it goes. All right, well, before we get out of here, let's do some predictions, people.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, my lovely hostess, I will let you go first.
Abracadabra. I think our mystery woman is going to turn out to be someone that his father stole a big show from, and that's why she's resenting them. Boom.
Abracadabra. Okay, so my predictions. I think somehow Felix in the drug cartel did something personal to her family. I think the woman is maybe some like sister that never got to be a part of the team or something. Some reason she really, really hates them from when they were a child. And and I don't know. I think they want a love interest between Kay and Cameron, but I am not quite feeling any sort of romantic anything so far. In this episode, I was like, ain't no fireworks really, honestly.
There's no fireworks, yes.
So I'm not sure about that. But those are our predictions for the upcoming episodes. And you guys, all the people in the chat room, I'm so glad you guys are there. Give us your predictions for what you guys think is going to come up for next week. And we'll see. And we'll give you guys a shout out next week. So hey, Dream Queen. And hey, Daryl. Yay. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we will see you guys again next week. Same time, same station.
And don't forget to live tweet with us on Sunday nights.
All right, you guys, I'm Erika Edwards. You can find me on all of my social media at Erika, ERIKA, as in door, Edwards. And Cherry, where can they find you, chica?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Cherry_LA, and I'll be live tweeting every Sunday with all of you as well.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. See you again next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.